Welcome to episode 5 of the 4Q podcast. I'm so happy to have you here. So, this episode is about, do I need a life coach, a psychologist, a spirit guide, a social worker, a naturopath? How to choose the right coach. Now, I'll give you some actionable tips in this podcast, and I'm sure you'll get so much out of it. And you might sort of question some of my controversial views because I know that there's a lot of views on this topic. But before we jump into that, I want to remind everyone of those of you who follow this podcast in chronological order, our new value and thought for the month of November is out. And whether you listen to this in November or another time, it's really good to think about values and thoughts and try to implement them on a regular basis just to see if it changes your worldview or your lens or your rose-colored glasses. So for those of you who are following in November 2020, our value of the month is kindness, and our thought of the month is being kind to myself is the kindest gift I can give to the world. Now, the focus of this month is really about being kind to yourself, remembering that it's a really big season of life at the moment and a really big season of a really big year. And you have to ask yourself, if I can say no to certain obligations or say no to the never-ending to-do list and invest in myself and just do what I can to be kind to myself, whether that's some self-care, whether that's saying no to an obligation that you don't want to do. Maybe it's saying no to some of the things coming up in the holiday season. Maybe it's taking time to have a nap and rest, or just chill out and do something sort of that has no purpose, like just chilling out to a shitty show on Netflix or something like that. It's really about being kind to yourself, because you have to think about the presence that I bring into the room and the presence that I bring to others. Is that the presence that you bring is so important to the energy that you also receive back from people. So imagine you're going into a situation where you've been kind to yourself, you've let go of really harsh expectations, and you just feel grounded. You feel calmer, more content, you're clear about what you want and who you're with. That person is going to change the energy of the room and the people she or he is around much more than someone who's like, no, I've got way too much to do. I just got to keep pushing. I know I'm burnt out, but it's almost the end of the year. Just got to keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. That person is going to bring a very different energy into the room. And, for anyone who's got kids out there, kids are super susceptible to energy. They feel when you're having an off day. So, and it affects your partners, it affects your workplace, it affects so much. So for anyone out there, be kind to yourself, because it really is the greatest gift you can bring into the world. All right, enough of that. We're about to jump into this podcast. I 100% know you are going to get so much from this particular topic, because I get asked about it all the time. So without further ado, here is this podcast, episode number 5 of the 4Q podcast, following our 4R formula from our Life Reset retreat and our Life Reset course, which is reflect, redefine, redesign, and realign. I can't wait for you to hear it. And if you have any questions, you know where to find us. We're on Instagram, and it's SAVASANACollective.com. All right, let's jump in.
Hey, I'm Sheena Shuey. I'm a registered social worker and host of the 4Q podcast. I'm passionate about normalizing, not pathologizing life, and that's not easy. So each episode, I have amazing guests on to share the messy, beautiful ups and downs of life in 4 key questions with tips and tricks along the way. There are moments in life where you can embrace your story and understand that it's okay not to feel okay sometimes. So let's get into it. This is the 4Q podcast. Hey, beautiful people. As you just heard, we are going to be talking about the very touchy subject of, do I need a life coach, a psychologist, a social worker, a spiritual guide? Who do I need in my life and why do I need them? So let's start off with reflecting on the fact that all of these people are coaches and all of these people help you. So for those of you who follow my Instagram or follow our account, I'm very big on helping people in 3 key areas of your mind, body, and spirit. And I definitely believe that we all need a guide, a mentor, coach, anything like that in those 3 areas. Now, it's very tricky because it depends what you're needing, because the three of those areas are inextricably linked. So, if you're working on your body, for example, in your nutrition and your health, that's going to be hugely linked to your mindset. And of course, your mindset are linked to your belief systems and things like that. So that, and your belief systems, of course, are linked to your sort of spiritual meaning. And when I say spirit, it's not, again, you don't have to be a spiritual person or religious of any kind, but it is that guiding light of your purpose and meaning and things like that, as opposed to your individual psychology of your life experiences, etc. But again, huge overlap, and they're all inextricably linked. So when you're choosing someone, that can be quite tricky because, a naturopath works with your body and doing food, and then they can help you with anxiety and stress, which are obviously your mind, and that links into your spirit too. So what I would encourage you to do, if you choose any coach, first reflect on what area of your mind, body, or soul needs the most direction at the moment. So And choosing a coach for each area sometimes can be better than just trying to choose one person for all of them. So again, and again, they'll overlap. So you might see a naturopath for your body, you might see a psychologist or social worker for your mind, and then you might have someone who's a yoga spiritual teacher or something like that in your spirit, and that's what's going to guide you. And those 3 obviously overlap, and it's always good to have a balanced perspective. Now, if we go to redefine, what I would say is where you can get qualifications, choose qualifications over certifications. Now, what does that mean? So basically, if you see a naturopath, they have a registration body. They've gone to university for years and years to get the qualifications to help you. They understand the evidence of what works. So when you see a naturopath, you might get a meal plan or something like that. They're not going to explain to you all the science between, what ingredients are put into the dish, why they're put in there, all the intricate ins and outs of what your bodily functions are for each ingredient. They're just going to give you the front end of, here's your meal plan, these are the things we need to stick on. And because if they explained every minute detail of why that's going to help your body and your anxiety and your stress or whatever, they'll be there for 10 years. So they don't. And so sometimes from an outsider's perspective, if you were looking upon that, meeting or that one-on-one, you might think it's quite simple. Oh, they've just given me a salad that I could do anyway, but there's a science behind it. And it's the same with psychology and social work and the mind. When we do our sessions and when we do an activity, there's so much science behind it, but if we explained all the science behind it, the session would go for 4 hours. So in my courses that we have on our website at SAVASANACollective.com, we have intricate courses, and our courses are based on those principles again: mind, body, spirit, neuroplasticity and neuroscience, East meets West, so Eastern and Western medicine and science and research, and all of those things. But you don't see that. Otherwise, my videos will go for very long. So, and the course is structured in a very thought out way. And same with the activities. I ask certain questions in certain ways. I ask the questions in a specific order, which, again, watching the video, you might not get the full idea of what's going on. But you don't get that quality and that knowledge from someone who has a certification. Now, I'm not saying that people with certificates cannot help you. They can. But what I will say is that, people like Tony Robbins, the man himself, no qualifications, but I think all of us know that he knows his stuff. Now, Tony has a huge support team around him. He worked his way up on his own, and he is the man for that. But then once he got to a certain point, he did ask neuroscientists, psychologists, naturopaths, this person, that person, how can I structure my events to get the best out of people? So, if anyone's ever been to a Tony Robbins event or seminar, he's jumping around and he's making you do awkward things, because that adrenaline rush and that novelty is what creates change. And there's a lot of neuroscience around doing something uncomfortable and getting outside of the comfort zone. He does that intentionally. He gets your heart rate up intentionally, because when you're in that state, one, you're going to buy more, but two, you're going to create way more meaningful change. And it really is going to be more life-changing for you if you're getting that rush. And that's why those face-to-face retreats that we run are amazing, because you get that interaction. So I would say that, but the reality is life coaches, many just get a certificate, and it's a short course. So, even if you go, wow, this person's registered or they've got this certification as a life coach, it's to the company they got the certificate from. So I could go out tomorrow and start a training company that trains people as life coaches. I could build a training around it and give people certificates on that. Now, and then they go out and do it. Now, don't get me wrong. I do think there's good life coaches out there. But what I would say is, if you're going to go a life coach rather than a psychologist or a social worker or a counselor who've been to university and have these back end information that you don't get, but years and years worth of experience and knowledge, I just think if you can choose someone with a registration and a body like we have over someone who's got a certification, why wouldn't you? So that is my thing. But the thing is, let's say your life coach is in the spiritual realm, where they help with spirit and soul alignment. That's a very different kettle of fish, because how do you certify someone in spirit guidance? You can't. Does the Dalai Lama have a certification? I don't think so. So if you look at those three aspects, your mind, body, spirit again, I would definitely, like hand on heart, if you want quality, you want change, you do not want someone ripping you off, please go with someone who's got tertiary qualifications and a registration where you can. Again, if I'm going to get spiritual guidance from someone, I'm not going to find someone with a registration, but I will go to someone who's got proven testimonials. That word of mouth stuff is important, because you need to be able to trust people and, give them a chance. And of course, that if I go to a spiritual guide to get spiritual guidance around my purpose or beliefs or, other spiritual aspects, of course, there's going to be overlap with, my mindset. So the mind area, they might have an overlap with body in that they might tell me, Sheena, you need to start moving your body to cleanse your soul, or you need to do a fast to cleanse your soul. So you can see how they all interact and overlap. So that would be what I have for that. Now, when it comes to the redesign, we've done reflect, redefine, and the third element of the 4Q podcast that I ask, which is redefine. Redesign. Third element of the 4Q podcast, redesign. How do we redesign? Now, I would say, again, what is the issue that you're facing? So if your weight loss, right? If your weight loss is tied up in your mindset, like that you've got an emotional connection with food, it's a trigger point, that it's very emotional for you, you might benefit from the psychologist and social worker or counselor seeing you, as well as the naturopath to tell you what to eat. If you're having very physical symptoms like hormonal changes, or you're feeling fatigued, tired, you're having intense cravings, you're having a very physical thing. So the first step might be seeing the naturopath in that case, and then the psychologist second. So just understanding that when you come to redefine your life, really take a moment to reflect and go, what's working and what's not. So again, if you do our courses and if you check out our website, we've got a lot of reflection tools. We've got one for relationships, which is free, you can check out. But part of our course is doing a biopsychosocial spiritual assessment on yourself, biological, psychological, social, and spiritual, which you do on a weekly basis to check in where you are, and that will guide you. So for example, if you do a check-in with yourself and, it comes up clear that of those 4 key areas of your life, you're really struggling with your spirit and your biology, like, you're physically, you're not eating, you're not exercising, all of those things, then it becomes clear, okay, I need to get some spiritual practices happening like rituals, or I need to see this coach about getting some meaning and purpose in my life, or do something like buying a course or going on a retreat. That would be it. And then if you're seeing, okay, I need to see the naturopath for these bodily functions and this biological function, then that's clear where you can say, okay, the other areas, they're not what I want them to be, but they're not as bad as those areas. So that would be my guidance, is when you're redesigning your life, make sure you reflect on what areas need you the most and try to balance them as you see fit. And also, what is amazing, if you can make it happen, is if you have guidance and coaching and mentoring in the 3 areas, get those people together. So if they can get on the same page, almost like a treatment plan for you, that's just going to redesign your life in ways you cannot even imagine. It's just going to be so helpful. And we can help you with that because we connect with lots of different types of fields, because we want to give you the best and most whole and grounded and well-rounded courses and retreats that we possibly can. And so we include all elements of it. So definitely check that out and make sure you do that for yourself. And again, if it comes to parenting, that's more of a mindset thing. The other thing I would say is some people might call themselves a parent coach. And again, I honestly think parent coaches are amazing people because they do it and they know what works. And that's the thing, is that check out, the testimonials and how they work and what they do. And, if you feel right with it, go for it. They might not be registered, but some of the parent coaches I know out there are the most amazing people. So, go for that. Same with doulas and things like that. I know that they have a registration body and proper training. And so those people are just amazing, but they're guiding you in spirit and in mind. So, and body too. So I just approach with caution, make sure you have word of mouth. And the final elements that we've done: reflect, redefine, redesign, and then realign is, like I mentioned already, check in with yourself on a regular basis. What areas of your life do you need support with? What areas of your mind, body, soul, spirit do you need connect with? What areas of your life do you need help with? Because, you know, there are so many resources out there. And ask yourself, what can I manage with my time? You know, trying to address everything at once isn't going to work. So for example, right now, my son is a toddler. And so as many toddler parents would know, you go through many different stages of that life, but he's toilet training at the moment and he's a bit fussy with food and he's got a couple of other areas that could do with some work. Am I going to address all of them at once? No. Right now, all I'm focusing on is the toilet training. His eating's gone a little bit fussy, but I'm going to deal with that once I've done the toilet training. Because if I try to do the toilet training and the food and then this behavior and then this behavior, I'm going to get burnt out. He's going to get stressed out because it's going to feel like his whole world's changing. And so you address one thing at a time, at your own pace. And that's what we do in our courses too, is that we're hitting the life reset on your mindset and your lifestyle, and we use a holistic basis, but it's done at your own pace with the courses. And then if you go, Sheena, I'm down, I want to bang this out in a weekend, you can come away with us for a retreat, because our retreats are similar to our courses in that they do everything in the course at the retreat in a weekend, you know, in that face-to-face environment like Tony's, but I'm not going to get you to hug people awkwardly like he does. And you'll get that change. So I hope that offers you some clarity around, do I need a life coach, psychologist, social worker, counselor, parent coach, all the different types of coaches. I hope it gives you some clarity on what to look for, what areas you need support with. And, you know, again, the biggest thing, if I could tell you one key thing, trust your gut. Unfortunately, I have met people who have all the quals and the knowledge in the world, but they're not great with people. And then I have met coaches who don't have the quals, just have the certifications, but they're killing the game because they're putting the effort to do their own research, keep up to date, connect with people, go into their niche. They're not trying to say they're a psychologist or a social worker, but they're trying to say, this one particular area of life, I know it off like the back of my hand. So you trust your intuition and your gut. If something feels right, lean in. If something just doesn't feel right, lean out, because the thing is, real and meaningful change happens through that therapeutic alliance, which is that connection you have with that person. So have a wonderful day. Thank you for coming on today. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram. So instagram.com/Savasana Collective. And of course, our Facebook. And then if you want to join our email list, go over and head over to savasanacollective.com, and you'll see all the pop-ups there and some free PDFs and videos that you can do to give you a taste of what our courses are like before you buy them. All right, we'll catch you next week. See you. Bye.